person, and I want to start with why we need to begin with goal setting at all. Why start with a goal? Why start with a desired state of something that you envision or plan or commit to achieving? Well, because if we don't define something, the likelihood that we hit it is so much lower. This starts and ends with defining something that will be helpful to you, that we're going to chase, that we're going to work to achieving. And why I love the Jim Rohn quote so much is I want you to set the kind of goals that will make something out of you to achieve them. If it's easy, if it's not challenging, if it's something you've already done before, trust me when I tell you, it will feel good in the moment to write it down, but it won't make something out of you to achieve it. So, where I like to start with this is a big 1 year goal, something that will be meaningful to you at the end of the year to achieve it. So, does anybody have a 1 year goal? Something that if we are in May 2025, if you achieve it, will be meaningful to you. If you achieve it before, then great. But is there a 1 year goal that has a clear objective plus a completion date that you've written down or typed into if you're using the digital version? You can use the chat or you can take yourself off mute. We'll just go with the chat. What is a 1 year goal that you've written down? It can be I want to start with a professional goal, but if you've got a personal goal, you can put it there as well. I will start with mine. I see nobody's okay. We're gonna get to work here. We're not gonna go without this. Okay, Nicole says cultivate a high performance team and culture. Terry says teach employees to empower themselves. Okay, these are really powerful ideas, Nicole and Terry, and I applaud you. How will we know if we've achieved that? What does a high performance team or culture, what does it look like? What does it feel like? How will you know you've achieved that? This is where the clear objective is so critical. Terry, teach employees to empower themselves. Empower themselves to do what? What employee do you want to accomplish what and by when? All right, Nicole is starting to sniff it here. She says, our service levels improve, our quality scores increase. Okay, by how much? And you don't have to define it in there, but what I want you to write is what service level do you want it to be at? If you're at let's just say for round sake, we're at 70 today. By the end of May next year, by the end of the calendar year even, I want my service level to be at 85% versus 70. Or if I want our quality scores to increase, our quality scores today is X and I want it to be Y. Clear objective, clear objective, clear objective. It's got to be something that when we get to that, we either know we achieved it or we didn't. Let's go to Charlisa. Incorporate coaching skills into my professional life, either in my current role or as a consultant. Okay, so Charlisa, this is a great example. Maybe your goal in 1 year is to be a consultant. That might be your professional goal. So then what we're going to do, I'm not putting your goal in your planner for you, but if that would be, we either are going to accomplish that in 1 year or we don't. I'll give you a personal example today. I went to the gym this morning on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I like to go to the gym in the morning, and I kind of plateaued a little bit in my gym, getting in better shape. I've joined a digital program, got a planner, things like that for my health journey. And I saw this trainer across the way and I'm like, I want that guy to help me achieve my fitness goals. And I walk over and I said, I know you're a trainer here. Could we just talk? I'd love to see if you're the right fit for me. And he looked at me and the very first question Nick asked me was, what's your fitness goal? What's your fitness goal? And I said, I want to get to 170. I want to go from where I am today, 184, to 170. He said, great, that's a good starting point. Because then, if once we know what the goal is, a clear objective plus a completion date, now we can look to achieve it. And if it's incorporating coaching skills, which is important, I don't know how we would measure whether we've incorporated the coaching skills into your professional life, either in your current role or as a consultant, unless we write it down. So the very first challenge to using this planner to the best of your ability and to improve your productivity levels and your focus is to write down a goal, a specific one. Clear objective plus a completion date. Any questions about a clear objective and a completion date of a 1-year professional goal? All right, let's test this. Let's test Nicole because I feel like she's up for the challenge. Nicole, what is a clear objective plus a completion date that you want to achieve, let's just say by the end of this calendar year? Your team or you?
Well, for me personally would be, I want to be a senior manager.
Okay, this is a perfect example. Nicole, kudos. You just got bonus points, okay?
Okay.
Okay, she wants to be a senior manager by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It's inspiring goal to me, and I hope that we make it happen. All right, Nicole, 1-year goal, be a senior manager by the end of the year. Now, if we're going to go break that goal down into smaller buckets, shorter windows of time, I'm going to share my screen here so you can see this. Okay, so if we're going to, the steps to setting a great goal, we got to define the goal. That's what we just did. Now we've got to make it smaller. Now we've got to break it down into something that we can make progress on, because we might not, that might be our Super Bowl at the end of the year, but we got to break it down into smaller buckets. So now, what would be something that you would be measured on to improve the likelihood that you're the best next candidate?
Probably start by creating a stronger culture within my team, just to be able to show some expertise and growth. And then also what I'm doing now, which is improving my leadership skills.
Okay. So do you think, do y'all measure employee engagement?
We do.
Okay. Do you get an employee engagement score broken down by just your team, or is it company as a whole?
It's normally company as a whole and site.
Okay. Or site. All right.
Yeah.
So
my site. Yeah.
So culture can be measured in a lot of ways. Employee engagement might be one of them. So if we're going to measure the culture of your team, we got to try to find some measurement about where we are today and where we want it to be within the next 64 days, which in this case would be 3 months.
So could it start with like we do surveys? Our customers do surveys. Our surveys are not as high as they used to be, and our quality scores are not as high as they used to be.
Okay, now you got some homework. What's the quality scores today, and what's the customer service scores today? You don't have to say it out loud, but those are 2 numbers I want you to define or know. And then what I want you to define is what you want them to be in 3 months or in 64 days. There's our goal. Our big goal is what? Job promotion by the end of the year. We know one of the ways that you're measured is to demonstrate that we're taking us from where we are today to a better place, which is going to improve the likelihood that you're the best next candidate. Then we got to get your team on board, but we're not there yet. All right. We're not there yet. All right. Does anybody else have one they want to share? A 1-year goal, or breaking that goal into something smaller? And if not, that's okay. All right. So at this point, if you're here today, what we should have a clear goal by the end of the year, and we should have broken that goal up into smaller goals of things that would be meaningful for us to achieve. Clear objective plus a completion date. If we're on this in 1 week and you say, or in 3 months, I say, did you achieve that? And you said, I'm not sure, we didn't get clear enough about our goals. These should be like, you should be like, we did or we didn't. And at the end of this year, actually end of 3 months, you could say, hey, John, did you go from 184 to 170? And I could say, no, but I did get to 172 and here's how I made progress. If you take nothing else away from today, I want you to take away this. Whether you actually achieve the goal isn't nearly as important as what you become in order to achieve it. Let me say that again. The goal, if you achieve it, is great. I want you to achieve it. It builds confidence and you'll achieve great things in life. I want you to do that. But if you get really close to making progress towards that goal, a meaningful one, it's going to make something out of you to achieve it. And then you've set yourself up for future success. Now I've become the kind of person that works out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's going to serve me better in my life than getting to 170. Are we speaking from the same hymn sheet here? Okay, good. Everybody's got a goal. Now, I know I spent some time with Johnny and his team recently, and he's on here. Johnny, welcome. This can be a little challenging if you're leading a team. So you might have a team goal similar to what Nicole was just sharing. You might have a personal goal. To me, they're similar. They're slightly different. If you would want to set a team goal specifically, just tell me yes in the chat, and I'll make sure our team sends you the team goal planner as well. They're very similar, but you can use them and use them in a collaborative way with your team. Okay. So just know that we know they're a little bit different, but they build on each other. You got it, Nicole. All right. So we'll send you the team goal planner as well. Everybody now should have a clear one clear goal plus 3 smaller goals over the next 30 days. They could be personal or professional. The only rule is that one of your 64-day goals has to be in alignment with the bigger one. If it's not, we're not going to achieve anything meaningful. And if you really want to supercharge it, you make all 3 in alignment with that one goal. You'll get so much closer to achieving the primary one. But I know that's not always how life works. All right, now I want you to flip a page or just scroll up in your digital version. And now again, what you'll see here are these 14 inspirational quotes. You can pick your favorite. Hopefully you've gotten into a habit of writing down something inspirational every single day. Once you run out of these, you got to start paying attention to things in life. I told you in the email today, my inspirational quote from today. Let me get to my latest page here. My inspirational, see, I'm flipping my pages. Y'all see this? I don't just talk about it. Okay. I'm almost there. I'm almost into a new book. All right. I'm not even there. I need a marker. Okay. This is mine from today. Action reduces fear. I found myself sometimes thinking about the outcome or what good or bad thing might happen. And I saw this quote and I just loved it. Action reduces fear. So can I just take one action today? It will reduce my fear. That's mine. If you've written one down from today, tell me in the chat because I need good ideas too. I need good ideas. All right. Let's see what everybody's coming up with. What's one inspirational quote or something inspirational that you're carrying forward with you today that I can learn from? All right, Peter. Thoughts become beliefs. I like that, Peter. Our thoughts become our beliefs. I better be really careful about what I'm paying attention to. because what I'm paying attention to will create my thoughts, and those thoughts will become my beliefs. It's a great example, Peter. All right. If you're leaving this blank, I understand it's awfully tempting. Reject that temptation. We all need inspiration in our life, and when you collect something and you write it down, it just finds a weird way of getting into your soul, which I just love. All right, Terry's got one. Show kindness to all you come across. It's fantastic. It's going to be a great reminder when a team member comes in and they got all kinds of problems, Terry, and they need you to help solve it. Charlisa says, "Go slow to move fast." It's a great one. See, we can share best practices here. I'm writing that down for tomorrow. Go slow to move fast. Okay, so now here's the second thing we're going to cover today. As we get into the actual planning of this, let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so I love this quote. It's not that we don't have time, it's that we don't have time for the things that are really important. There's always enough time to do what's really important, but we get caught up in doing things that aren't important. We're all guilty of this, myself included. Now, this is something new, but I want you to consider this before we get into the actual Daily Excellence Planner. Are you more of a maker or are you more of a manager? And I'm going to explain the difference of these. Can everybody see this on my screen? Okay. A maker versus a manager. And what this shows us is that we all tend to be one or the other. It can change, it can shift depending on your job, your title, your promotion that you get, what you're doing in life. All kinds of various things can happen. But we tend to be one primary or one more the other. And there's three things that we're going to look at here. The first is your schedule. The second is your tasks. And the third is your productivity. And I'll explain why this is so important in a second. So a maker, from a schedule perspective, they need large blocks of uninterrupted time. If they stack too many things in their day, they feel like they get absolutely nothing accomplished because they need to be building or thinking or creating. A maker on the task side, they need deep concentration. Distractions are no good for them. They need to be creative, and they tend to be a little bit more abstract in what it is that they do. They're using this thing and they need it to be used in a high-powered way. And then on the productivity side, they measure their productivity by the quality of their output. Not just being busy, but did I actually get something accomplished, something that we can ship? All right, that's a maker. A manager on the other side, again, one's not better than the other. It's just key that you define what you are or your primary way. A manager's schedule, tiny blocks broken up throughout the day. We got a lot of things. We got a lot of meetings. We got a lot of decisions to make. So we need to have a very tight schedule, and that schedule is really important. When it comes to the tasks, this is about coordinating, this is about decision making, and this is about communicating with others. And then lastly, the productivity. We're measured by how effective we are at handling many things, and are we achieving our organizational goals? In the chat, what I want you to do is tell me whether you're more of a maker or you're more of a manager schedule. Maker or manager? And if you're in between, tell me that too. Manager, more of a manager, more of a man. Okay, this is great. More of a manager. We're going to focus on that now when we turn to the planner. Whether you're a maker or a manager, you should absolutely have something inspirational written down. As you can see here, I got go slow to move fast tomorrow. Thank you. Okay, now when we turn it over, Managers are going to be a little bit more focused on the bottom of the planner. My makers are going to be focused a little bit more on the top of the planner. So if you're a manager, pretty much every single day, almost without question, you're going to have decisions to make. You're going to have key meetings, your top 3, the ones that are most important. And then you're going to have some things in the middle that are next or later. Your today's non-negotiables aren't going to be nearly as important as these key decisions that you're making at the bottom or key meetings. Now, my makers, on the other hand, your non-negotiables are most important because these are the 3 things you absolutely must get done today. You must focus your time, energy, and attention. To use that quote from previously, we must know what's really important throughout your day, or else you'll spend it on things that are not very important. Okay, so manager or maker, it's a good way to just establish where your focus should be based on your current role, or even maybe what you want it to be. Johnny's in between, no problem. We just got to make sure, Johnny, yours is filled out every single day, or else you'll default to what you're good at, not what you need to be doing. And Johnny, because you're running a business and you got team members, you'll probably default to being a manager because it's what you have done. But probably what you need to be doing more of today is more maker, more strategic, more big things, more big relationships, where you might default to your previous roles without the team members that you've hired and you doing their jobs. Okay, so now what we're going to focus on, just keep that in mind as we go. Now, your top priorities for this month. I like to break it down into months. These should be the things that are more important than others in alignment with your goal. More important than others in alignment with your goal. So, an example here, let's just use Nicole as an example. If one of her goals is to improve employee engagement by 20% in the next 64 days, which would be amazing, one of her priorities should be team meetings. It's the biggest and the best way to improve employee engagement is to make them feel connected and a part of a bond, and that we're accomplishing something meaningful together. Team meetings are a priority. Her one-on-ones, priorities. You start to get what yes, got it? Okay. I'm going to go through mine. Mine's not yours, and that's okay. My priorities for the month: product standardization, anything related to our programs, our tools, our Accelerate Leadership program, anything related to that. Product standardization is one of my priorities this month. The Leadership Lens book, I'm halfway through. It's a priority this month. It's very important. I got a maker schedule. I've got to make time in my calendar to finish the book. Number 3, business development. Anything related to growing our pipeline or opportunities. We've got a big goal to get to a certain amount of revenue and number of leaders impacted this year. Business development is number 3. And number 4 is customer execution. We get to work with all different types of companies to help develop their leaders. So delivering workshops, being on customer calls, those would be my top 4 priorities for the month that are going to help us achieve our 64-day goal. I want you to write down your top 3 or 4 priorities. If push comes to shove, these are the things that are more important than others that will help you achieve your goal. Do you need another example, or is mine okay? One more? I see some head shaking. Okay, if this was a personal goal, let's go back to my personal example. 184 to 170. My priorities in alignment with that one goal are going to be exercise, nutrition, and education. I don't know enough about the exercises. I don't know enough about having a plan to work out. So I got to get educated. I got to eat right or have better nutrition. I got to know what needs to go in. And then lastly, I need to make sure I have exercise or some physical daily routine. Those are my big three priorities. Everything else, not that important if I'm going to achieve that goal. All right. Any questions about priorities? All right, let's go. Anybody else about priorities just before we leave? I know people get confused on this. Okay. The things that are more important than others. The groups of things that are going to help you achieve that goal. Now, everything else from your top today's non-negotiables down through urgent for execution or next for later, these are all tasks or things that you need to do or focus on in your day or tomorrow or later this week. These are the tasks, the things that you need to get done. Now, here's the trick. If your task lists fill up with things that are not in alignment with your priorities, we're doing something wrong. If you focus on or you do the things that are easy to you or that they're convenient or that you're comfortable with, but they're not in alignment with your priorities, we're doing something wrong. You've probably heard that old adage, eat the frog. Like, do the biggest and the hardest and the most important things early in your day, or else you're going to default to what's easy and convenient. And those easy and convenient things might be important to do if you're a manager of a team. They're rarely the things that move the needle for you or your team. I know you all might not like me after hearing me say that, but that is the hard truth. And we're all guilty of it. That's why I like to schedule my one-on-ones or the difficult conversations early in the morning, because if I wait till later, I'll be like, I'll just push it till the next day, or it'll be better tomorrow. Maybe they'll do better tomorrow. All right. Clarity about this. If you're a maker, and Johnny, you're my maker today, your top 3 non-negotiables should be filled in every single day. If you're trying to make that transition, those should be filled out every single day. If you're a manager, your decisions to make and your top 3 key meetings should be filled in every single day. Now, I see we got a lot of managers in the room, so I'm just going to transition for a second because this is really important. There is a date next to your decision to make for a reason. If you don't write down when you're going to make that decision, you're more likely to pull a John Eads and kick the can down the proverbial road. Reject your old John Eads in you. Okay? You don't be the kind of leader that kicks the can down the road. Be the kind of leader that writes down when you're going to make that decision. Work towards making it. Work towards defining the right things to help you. But please write down a date. I don't want to be in a session next month, one-on-one with you, and you told me you were going to make a decision and that was important, and you still haven't made it. What is the number one hardest decision that a manager has to make? Let's just have a poll in the chat. What's the number one hardest decision that a manager has to make? V says, should decisions to make be on a weekly or monthly page so that one can fall back to review? Great question. This is why, Vish, go ahead and tell me your answer in the chat. What's the hardest decision a manager has to make? Okay, Vish, I'll answer that right now while we're waiting for answers. I like you to write this stuff down every single day so it gets ingrained in here and in here. If you have to flip the page or you have to retype it in every single day, guess what happens? You can start to recite them from memory. If you write them down one time and you leave them blank the next, and we were in a one-on-one coaching session, I said, what are your priorities? There's a good chance you won't know your top 3 or 4 priorities. But if you write them down every single day, or if you write down every single day my decisions to make and by when, you're more likely to accomplish them. You're probably going to get sick of me by 64 days, but it will work. And I'm into the business of things working. Peter says to say your work is not meeting your expectation. Okay, that's a good one, Peter. The hardest decision a manager has to make is around people. Is someone right for the role, right for the job, right for the team? The hiring of somebody new. Those are the most difficult decisions a manager or a leader of a company has to make, is related to people. And the easiest decision to kick the can down the road on is, guess what? People. So everybody makes that decision on their own. And there have been many times where I made quick assumptions on team members and I was completely wrong. But I do like the idea that, hey, we're going to make a decision on John by the end of July, whether he's in the right role or not. We're going to make a decision on Paul by the end of June, whether he's in the right role or not. And then that way, at least we can get in the habit of making sure that in our day-to-day, we're working towards the ability to make that decision. All right. Any questions about your daily excellence planner every single day? Okay, go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, it's a little backwards, but the priorities for the month, I'm still struggling with that. But if it's a good idea, like you said, with the decisions, to copy from day to day so they get ingrained in your mind and heart, or new ones as something may change during a week. I still struggle with coming up with the priorities for the month.
Yep. Well, the good news is it is okay that your priorities change. Life happens. So that's why we have you write them in there. They can change. And a good example is if I just went back to my planner from 3 weeks ago, let's just say. This priority at this one, I had a different one. It was leadership coaching outline. It was a big endeavor and it had to be a priority that month because we had a new workshop. Once that was finished, I can remove it from my priorities, Peter, because it's that priority as a whole has been accomplished. But guess what's still on there? The Leadership Lens book, because it's not finished. Business development, because it's always a priority. And product standardization, because it's a big endeavor that we're going through right now. Again, I know this can be a little bit tricky depending on everybody having slightly different goals or whether they've written down something professionally or personally, but overarchingly, those top 2 or 3 should kind of remain the same. And then you might switch some of those priorities in and out based on what's going on in life or on your team. I read an article the other day about a manager at Apple. And a manager at Apple they were launching a brand new product a couple years ago, and it was such a heavy lift. I mean, it was like the biggest and the most important launch at Apple in some time. That was the only priority on her planner if she was filling it out. But then by the end of that launch, and once it's over, now the priorities shift because we've gotten through something really big and really massive in our schedule. Okay. Vish says priority for the quarter, month, or week. Again, you get to kind of make this your own. I like doing it priorities by the month because I'm trying to break the goal down to something smaller. The priorities by the quarter would be great if this was a 365-day excellence planner. But since it's 64 days and we're really focusing on it broken down by the quarter, I like priorities by the month because they should stay rather similar over those 3 months, or at least 1 or 2 of them would. Great question, Bish. Okay. Any other questions about the Daily Excellence Planner? All right. As you can see, my enhancing habits right here are currently blank. I came off the weekend. I just didn't get them completed yet. I do pretty well on the weekdays. The weekends I struggle a little bit. Maybe you do as well. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it's important, but not something you actually absolutely have to do. Terry says decisions can be personal in lieu of team or both. Good question, Terry. Can decisions be personal in lieu of team or both? I think, again, this is going to be up to you, but I think your decisions to make could be personal and professional. If we only have a professional planner, to me, then it'll lack reality in your life. So I like putting everything in there. I kind of blend my personal and professional life, but some people like to just have a professional planner and then they might have a personal planner. My life kind of runs together. I'm not sure about everybody else's. Great questions. I like the idea of habits at the bottom. They're great nudges. I agree. I think they're great. Now, what you can do when you get to the end of each week, what you'll have in here is you will have, I'm going to put this, oh, nice focus. Okay, when week 2 is in the books. What are the 3 highlights that happened because you planted or focused seeds of action? My challenge to you is to write down, please do your best. Write down your wins. Even if they're small to you, write down the wins. What would be a win that you've had from last week? Anybody, just in the chat. What's a win? What is a win? I'll give you some examples. I had a difficult conversation with a team member. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I worked out twice this week. I avoided alcohol for the week. Again, I watched a movie with my kids. It was great one-on-one time. I got all 15 one-on-ones completed. That is an incredible accomplishment. Nicole, do you know how many managers see those one-on-ones and they know they're busy and they cancel them? Not you. That's a win. You should feel good about it. Even if they seem small to you, by writing down your wins from last week, what you'll start doing is you'll want to do things that allow you to write down your wins next week. Nobody wants to get to a blank page. So you'll naturally start to do things that you might not even think about it, but you're like, that was a win. I did that proactively. That was good. Okay. This is your chance to brag on yourself. Use it. Life is hard. Celebrate yourself. You deserve it. All right. Now your habit tracker. And these are powerful questions. Even if you don't fill out the habit tracker every single day, this is a key section, because if you get to say, hey, what habit did I excel at last week? A habit I excelled at last week was getting my one-on-one scheduled. And I having them. That is a habit. I drank water every single day because I'm working from home and I don't drink enough water. I drank water every single day. I read or I listened to a book or a podcast every single day. I'm starting to stack days. Stack days. All right, where did you struggle last week? This is when you get to be a little bit critical of yourself and to be real. What habit did I struggle with last week? No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Where did I struggle? My sleeping, my hydration. I didn't do any networking for myself inside the company or with my team. I didn't read or listen to a podcast or a book. I ate poorly. My focus was not where it needed to be. I only did my excellence planner one day. Next play. But write it down. The next one, what habit do I want to improve next week? My hope is that you just write down wherever you struggled last week. And if you struggle with 3 or 4 things, pick one. You're human. And now the ultimate question, how and when do you plan to improve the habit moving forward? Just write down how and when, and you're much more likely to do it. Okay, that's the bulk of it. And then you're back to the next week. Any questions or things that you want to lean into that we didn't get to today? Okay, I'm just gonna show you this last thing because I just love it. A break and time spent not working are very different. One fosters focus and the other snaps it. A break in time and time spent not working are very different. One fosters focus and the other snaps it. I don't know how you best work. You're going to be different than me. But I know this thing right here can be the absolute enemy of you being focused. It's so tempting that we think it's not that big a deal, or having our email open all day, or whatever it may be. Again, depending on if you're a maker or you're a manager, those things need to be very different. If you're a maker, that email being open, that chat being open will absolutely, the phone being near you, it will crush your productivity. If you're a manager and you got lots of blocks of time, when you're in something, be in it. Be where your feet are. If you're in a one-on-one with someone, put the phone away, turn the chat off, turn the email, be really present in that 15 or 30 minutes or 60 minutes. You're going to have a time to look at that email. You're going to have a time to look at your phone. But if you want to be a better manager to be more effective in the time that you need, we've got to get really good about what we do during that time. We've got to be where our feet are. Have our mind where our feet are too. Okay, any questions? All right, Vish, I appreciate that. Managers also make things or have things to deliver. That's absolutely true. No questions, but this gave more clarity on how to use the planner. Excited about introducing my team. Excellent. Nicole, I will send out the Team Excellence Planner as well. If you lead a team and you want to get really aligned on that, let me see if I just have it handy. See if I have it handy here. I probably do. Give me one sec and I will just pull it up so you can see it. Team. Let me see if I have it handy here. Team Excellence Planner. That's the picture. Workbooks. I should have this better handy. Team Excellence. I'm just going to show you a picture of it, okay? Just so we're all on the same page. And here, I'll share my screen. I'm going to share this. Can you see my screen okay? Okay, here's my quarterly team goal. Clear objective plus a completion date. I'm going to break that goal down into priorities, the things that are more important than any other time, that more important than others. And then underneath, what are the things, the initiatives that we have going on underneath those priorities, and who owns them? One of the biggest mistakes team leaders make is we don't know who owns what. It doesn't mean we can't collaborate on something, but we need to know who owns it. So again, this is an example of it, the GPI system. What's the 64-day team goal? Clear objective plus a completion date. What are the things that we need to focus on as a group that are going to help us achieve that? Unbelievable team exercise. Hey, here's our goal that we're trying to achieve. Does everybody agree that this is meaningful? Yes. Okay. What are the things that are more important than others that we focus on in order to make this happen? You'll get all kinds of answers. And the best part is they'll start helping each other and being like, well, is that really it? Is that really that important? And then if you start seeing people doing things that are out of alignment with those priorities, the likelihood that we achieve that goal is lower. This creates incredible alignment.